and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Pit. It is probably the most prime example of seeing the best in humanity, but also the far, far worst in humanity. It's a place where you see exchange of ideas and just people throwing crap at each other. But occasionally you see something where, okay, there's a reasonable request. A statement has been made. A challenge has been made. And I think it's only fair that, again, we look at this in a wider spectrum. Now, Joe Rogan has the most popular podcast across the world. All right. And since then, he has been wrongly vilified by corporate media and a lot of neoliberal vote blue, no matter who Democrats. They hate him because of his channel. They hate him for the guests he has on. They hate him because they just hate him. Okay. That's all. Nothing but pure haterade. But the thing is, if you listen to Joe Rogan's show, as I have in the past, you'll realize, hey, that's show running 101. He's had a very popular show. He started this show off from nothing, and now it's become one of the largest, most popular platform, I guess, on social media at this point in time. And there's no arguing that he has been pretty reasonable and having outstanding conversations with his guests, and they range across the entire political spectrum. But apparently, there's this professor, doctor, scientist person, Professor Peter Hotez, who says he is quite concerned about Joe Rogan and Elon Musk. So let's go ahead and pull this out. This has been raging across Twitter yesterday, and yes, even now today as well. Joe Rogan tweets out, "Are you sure I'm not part of a coalition of neo-fascist leanings? Seems like that's what you really think. Or what are you projecting to the masses?" And here's a screenshot. I'm quite concerned about the Elon Tucker link, then fold in Rogan and RFK Jr., and it becomes pretty formidable coalition with neo-fascist leanings. Professor, proof. Okay, again, I'm not expecting everyone to universally agree with Elon, Tucker, Joe Rogan, RFK Jr. However, you are projecting something on 4 individuals and you are lacking evidence. Just come out and say it. You just don't like them. That's it. Or you're just being petty because, well, they have more people following them on their social media platforms than people are following you. He goes on to say, in some ways, darker or perhaps more dangerous than Trump. Oh my goodness, everyone, we did it. Trump's no longer the big bad guy anymore. In my opinion, awful. I just hope Team Biden is preparing. Tell me a loser. Tell me that you're a loser without telling me you're a loser. When I see statements like this, and of course he's tweeting out, "Oh, we're back. Oh no, it's Tucker." And to which, again, he says, "I'm happy to come on and clean the air. I respect you and your show. I don't want an adversarial relationship. I think we can work well together." And again, by the way, Peter Hotez, I saw this tweet that you deleted. And then Peter says, "Yes, Joe, I thought it was over the top, unnecessary, provocative, so I took it down right away. But I've been hurt by the public untrue statements you guests / your guests have made about me being a pharma shill, when all I do is make vaccines for the world's poor. I don't take big pharma money. Be serious, Joe." And here's what he's, did a screenshot. "Be serious, Joe. That's what you throw out for your hunting buddies on the weekend. A $50 million endowment, which you, Spotify, RFK Jr. can easily afford. Not for me, but so we can continue making low-cost, patent-free vaccines for the world's poor." Said Peter, "If you claim what RFK is saying is misinformation, I'm offering you $100,000 to the charity of your choice if you're willing to debate him on my show with no time limit." And again, here we go. I want to pull up this here again. Sorry, wrong tweet. Again, I'm going to ask you very clearly, are you willing to debate Robert Kennedy Jr. on my podcast? And Joe, if you're serious about addressing vaccines, plus the fact that 200,000 unvaccinated Americans needlessly perished during your awful Delta BA1 COVID waves, including 40,000 in our state of Texas because they fell victims to vaccine disinformation, I want to have that discussion. So again, take the debate. take the debate. And again, this caught the attention of the New York Post as well. Joe Rogan challenges Dr. Peter Hotez to debate anti-vaxxer RFK Jr. On his podcast. So again, podcast Joe Rogan challenged vaccine researcher Dr. Hotez to debate presidential candidate and anti-vaxxer. I wish, again, why is the media just keep on posting this out here about RFK Jr. after he criticized the Democratic presidential candidate for doubling down on his controversial stance on the Joe Rogan Experience last week. Rogan pledged to donate $100,000 to a charity of Hotez's choice if he agreed to appear with the political scion who has launched a long-shot bid to dethrone President Biden in the 2024 Democratic primary. Rogan's challenge, which has since been viewed over 25 million times, prompted Hotez to respond in a now-deleted tweet, which turned into a back-and-forth exchange. Again, I've already read that tweet. Twitter owner Elon Musk chimed in saying Hotez hates charity, while Kennedy agreed to a respectful, congenial, informative debate that the American people deserve. Now, I'm just going to pause here for 1 second. And I just want to just talk to you, the audience. I think this could be a reasonable conversation. I would expect Mr. Peter, professor, to be a reasonable person to have an online discussion, to have a debate, to have a conversation. I mean, if you're so confident in your proof, your evidence, then share with what you know with RFK Jr. I expect RFK Jr. to share what he knows with you so you could look at each other's sources and have a conversation, not a debate me bro kind of conversation that we're so used to seeing on Twitter or on YouTube. If it's moderated by Joe Rogan, I think it'd be a reasonable, interesting conversation. If you're so confident and you want to stand off against the quote unquote Elon, Tucker, Rogan, RFK Jr. coalition, then you should be willing to go to bat for this. This is what I mean when I say when we have seen quote unquote activists or people with the blue check mark acting almighty and powerful. This is your chance, if you're so confident, to take down RFK Jr. That's if you are ready to do so. Now, again, he has decided not to, and we will continue on because this story is still developing even as we speak. If you go on social media and you drop the gauntlet, then expect someone to push back and stand up. And I think at this point in time, Rogan, like anybody else, would get tired of being smeared. CNN smeared him needlessly across social media. Smeared him needlessly. And when we here at Hard Lens Media covered that story, YouTube, in its big brain, brilliant decision, decided to demonetize us and give us a strike. Now, thankfully, we were able to reverse that. I think it was the quickest we've ever been able to do it in like 1 hour. It was a miracle that we even pulled it off because we went through every single avenue approach, and thankfully, we did get a response. And all of you, our viewing audience, also backed us up there as well because YouTube thought we were giving out medical misinformation when we were covering a CNN article smearing Joe Rogan. Smearing Joe Rogan, there's no medical information. Two different things altogether. Anyways, like I said, the censorship's getting real. So this is a chance for the professor to challenge somebody like RFK Jr. He could do it. And the thing is, if he had the confidence and the wisdom to be ready, then he should do that. So here, I want to pull up something else here. Now, this individual named Alex Rosen confronted Professor Hotez, and I think it's a reasonable conversation. And it seems like at this point in time, if you're going to be posting stuff on social media, and if you are going to say that you're confident in your research and ability, then accept the challenge. I want to pull up this video here.
Oh, are you Peter Hotez?
I am. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
How are you?
Hey. So why are you not like going to debate RFK on Joe Rogan's podcast?
Oh, come on. That's harassing.
I'm just curious.
What?
Nothing hostile. Just curious.
I haven't said anything one way or the other.
I mean, are you planning on doing it?
He just invited me, so we'll see.
And I think you should, though.
Well, we'll give it some thought.
Okay.
Okay.
And what do you have to say to people who think they're vaccine injured?
Come on.
Anything for them?
Don't come to my house.
I mean, do you have anything to say to people that think you have anything to say to people? Yeah. I mean, do you think vaccine injuries are real, Peter? Peter, it's just a question. Settle the science now. On a safari to go vaccinate more kids?
So, yeah, he was confronted. Then, of course, Hotez, I believe I said his name wrong, so I apologize for that. So the professor said, ugh, I was stalked in front of my house by a couple of anti-vaxxers taunting me to debate RFK Jr. Of course, I was looking my Sunday best. Okay. Well, okay. Maybe you were looking your Sunday best, I guess. I don't know. We'll have that conversation for another day, I guess. But again, what is fascinating to me is you would think he would accept this challenge, that he should do that. But instead, no, he didn't. So shout out to Nick, who's part of the, again, Revolutionary Blackout Network, who has done phenomenal work. Please be sure to follow their work on social media. Peter Hotez calls out RFK Jr. and Joe Rogan, smearing them. Then RFK and his supporters call him out for a debate. Now the neoliberal media is pretending Peter Hotez is being bullied by Joe Rogan and RFK Jr. How about this? If you don't want to debate, keep people's name out of your mouth. I put that slap in, of course, because, hey, he went to Mehdi Hassan on BSDNC. Listen to this.
To what RFK Jr. and other anti-vax nuts have claimed. There is no connection between vaccines and autism, no connection, no established documented connection between vaccines and serious diseases or mass death. Vaccines tend to save lives across the board, do they not? That's what the peer-reviewed evidence overwhelmingly shows, does it not? And people are dying right now from COVID still because the evidence on COVID vaccines' efficacy is being ignored or shouted down on social media.
Well, there's three or four moving parts to this. So I'm a vaccine scientist. I make low cost, patent-free vaccines for low and middle income countries. We made 100 million doses we made 2 vaccine prototypes that led to 100 million doses being administered in India and Indonesia, no patents, minimal strings attached. So we actually found a way to bypass the pharma companies, and yet RFK Jr. incessantly calls me a pharma shill when, if anything, our vaccines may be.
Okay. So if you don't like what RFK Jr. is saying, accept Joe Rogan's invite for a debate. This is the problem with people who think they could write graffiti on the horrible stall that is Twitter and not expect anyone to write something back in response. And throughout all of 2020, the censorship was all too real. Corporate media and the liberal mindset was all in this rush to dictate what the conversation should be. And since then, now it's 3 years later, the World Health Organization, YouTube, listen to me. The World Health Organization declared COVID over, no longer a threat. And now there's more information coming out in regards towards the vaccine. People are asking questions. People want answers. Everyone's livelihood was turned upside down in 2020. Our own government effectively abandoned us. Hell, they still are abandoning us. They already abandoned us even years before, but they really did it times 11 in 2020. And we're still dealing with that fallout. Mass inflation, people being evicted from their homes and apartments, debt, and so much more. So if you're going to be talking this stuff about Joe Rogan or Elon Musk or Tucker or RFK Jr., prepare to get some smoke back, okay? If you're going to start something with somebody, one day somebody's going to step up and accept that challenge. So it's either you accept the debate or you shut up. Don't be a punk and run to BSDNC like you're doing right now and talking with the safety of Mehdi Hassan protecting you. This is only going to make the situation worse for you, buddy.
we kept Pfizer and Moderna out of markets in India and in Indonesia. So I don't understand that piece. And then the reason I got involved with RFK Jr. in the first place is I have an adult daughter, Rachel, who has autism and intellectual disabilities, and wrote the book Vaccines Did Not Cause Rachel's Autism, that refuted all of his false claims. And that's been, he's been kind of after me ever since.
He's not after you. Stop being a little weasel and a punk. Accept the debate. It could be a civil conversation. I trust Joe Rogan to moderate the conversation quite well. Plus, again, no time limit. You and RFK Jr. Hell, everyone in the Vote Blue, no matter who circle, should be backing you up, patting you on the head and say, go get him, boy. You got this. Come on, show him you're an animal, Rock. Professor Hotez. Go ahead, show him. Show him what you could do. Get in that ring. Take on RFK Jr. If you're so confident. You have years of medical experience. You got that big brain knowledge. You should be able to take on RFK Jr. Unless you are afraid that maybe RFK Jr. might actually win and outmaneuver you. Is that something that you're afraid of happening?
Then, and now he's at it again. But this time, Elon, I'm sorry, this time, Eddie, it's caused something really terrible. And that is during our COVID pandemic, I have a new book coming out that basically says 200,000 Americans needlessly perished because they believed the anti-vaccine disinformation and refused to take a COVID vaccine during our Delta wave and BA1 Omicron wave in 2021-22 after vaccines were widely available. So the point is, anti-vaccine disinformation, it's always done a lot of damage and harm, but now it's a lethal force in the United States. And that's why we have to have that discussion. And I offered to come and go on Joe Rogan again. I've been on a couple of times and have that discussion with him, but not to turn it into the Jerry Springer show.
All right. Okay. Hold on. First of all, Jerry Springer and Joe Rogan show two different platforms altogether. I've seen Joe Rogan speak and have conversations with people who he might not agree with. I've seen Joe Rogan have nothing but civil conversations. I never once seen the show turn into a chair throwing match with Steve running in the background to break up the fight. Shout out to the initiated who remembers Steve. I better see a whole bunch of Steves cheering in capital letters in the chat. All right. That's how old I am. I am 100% confident. And I'm going to say this with as much pride, ego, and smugness that the show, should you accept it, Professor, will be a very nice, cordial debate. And I don't see RFK Jr. coming in there throwing a left hook, right hook. Now, maybe there might be some points where the conversation could escalate, where maybe you two are shouting each other over. But I trust Joe Rogan, who has not mentioned a professional commentator, to actually moderate the debate civically. Don't hide behind MSNBC or CNN or your sycophants in Twitter. You're calling these people out. Accept the challenge. They stood up and called you out. So accept the invite. Don't be afraid.
With having RFK Jr. on.
Well, so it's sad because I said I'm so fed up with the debate me, because
it's not a debate me, Mehdi. All right, and enough of that. Enough of this, because so let's pull this up. And again, because I think this tweet is a perfect summary of what happened. Peter Hotez. Wow, RFK Jr. and Rogan were spreading dangerous misinformation. Thank you, Chris Hardman, the Sauna King. Joe Rogan, okay, come show us what we have wrong. Hotez, no. Joe, why not? Elon Musk, he knows he's wrong. Hotez, I'm an expert. Joe, okay, you share your expertise. Hotez, wow, you're all conspiracy theory fascists. That's a very good summary, buddy. I think 10. That's a perfect summary. But no, the story still develops, folks. The story is still ongoing, and I'll explain why. Because now, even all of corporate media, our fantastic friends at CNN, are deciding to weigh in. Let's pull up this wonderful tweet. Shout out to Case Study QB. Please be sure to follow him on Twitter. He's doing fantastic work. And again, outstanding summary. I mean, pretty much that explains it. But now here comes the big brain people at CNN, of course.
offering a leading vaccine researcher, Dr. Peter Hotez, this has been bubbling up on Twitter today, $100,000 to debate Democratic presidential candidate and anti-vaxxer.
I like how the person in the background is just shaking her head. And they all have sad faces. Look at them. Come on. Would it kill all three of you to smile? And no, I'm not being misogynistic here. I'm just saying, come on. It's CNN. Come on, folks. Smile. You're on TV. Smile. It's okay. And I said all three of them. Would it kill all three of them to smile? I mean, hell, CNN and MSNBC were all on board with, again, being pro-vax. They should be able to, be confident. But instead, they're all grim and angry cat face.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on his podcast. Is this even a debate worth having? I mean, I've had Dr. Hotez on this program many times, and he was one of so many, experts in the field of virology and so on who helped the public get through the COVID pandemic. But what do you think? Should he do that kind of a debate?
No, he should absolutely not. And I would say Dr. Peter Hotez is a lifelong public servant. He worked in a low-cost vaccine for developing countries. The man has devoted himself to science. He's a pediatrician. He is an incredibly good man. We both know him. RFK Jr. is a crank and an anti-vaxxer. And we all know why these very wealthy tech bros are pumping him up at the last minute, because they know, or they're pretty sure, that Republicans are going to nominate a very unelectable candidate in general. It's very possible they'll elect Trump. Or they'll nominate.
Somehow they always got to tie in Trump. All right. Trump has nothing to do with this conversation here, folks. Okay. And by the way, CNN, just remember, Operation Warp Speed happened under what administration? Oh, that's right. Trump. Huh. Conveniently forgetting that. And look, again, just throwing it out here. Would it kill all three of these people to smile? Would it kill you? I know you're all on CNN and the ship is sinking, but come on. The band still kept on playing on the Titanic. And if they can keep on playing while the ship is sinking, all three of you can at least smile.
Trump. And then they are trying anything they can to prevent Biden from getting reelected. And so they're propping up this third-party candidate. I mean, this is not rocket science. This is what's happening, and it's really, really clear. I mean, you listen to RFK Jr., the stuff he says, it doesn't even make any sense.
RFK Jr. is not a third-party candidate. He's running in the Democratic primary. You talking about Dr. Cornel West? What does Dr. Cornel West have to do with this? What does Trump have to do with this? Professor Hotez called out Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson, and RFK Jr. And Joe Rogan said, okay, fine, come on to my show and debate RFK Jr. if you're so confident. Professor Hotez, Professor, Prof, accept the gauntlet. Don't let BSDNC and CNN protect you. They're not your mommy and daddy. You're a big boy. Go.
There's no reason that Dr. Peter Hotez should even bother with it. He's elevating him by debating him.
Well, if he's so confident, all three of you should be on board. All three of you should be ready to do that. Come on. Let's pull up this other video here.
Yeah, Essie, how do you think that this RFK Jr. Situation should be handled?
And again, would it kill all three of them to smile? Come on. Oh, wait. We see a brief smile. Maybe.
I mean, he is, as Molly said, he's a crank. He's an anti-vaxxer. And yet he is going to be a part of this political dialogue here for months on end, because he is running in the Democratic primary. What do you think? Should people be debating him? Should public health experts be debating him?
Yeah, but you'd want to do that in a fair setting. I don't think
Joe Rogan's show is a fair setting. As fair as they can get, because, corporate media will put in their BS.
Rogan as moderator would be the best setting in which to have, I think, a very important and serious debate. I wish the DNC would let Joe Biden debate, because I'd like to see in a better setting with a moderator who is maybe a journalist, who can do.
Oh, no. Don't use the J word on CNN. to their own admission, the talent at CNN was so upset that their former CEO had that Trump town hall where Caitlin Collins got demolished and CNN got embarrassed, even though it was the highest viewed rating. Shh, 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 shh. Come on.
Fact checking and sort of pushback. RFK and Marianne Williamson and anyone else that gets into the race. These are important topics. And let's not forget, it's not just qualifying to be a crank.
All right, enough with the crank word. Again, this is corporate media smearing RFK Jr. Whatever your opinion is on him, okay, he's been consistent with his point of views and perspectives. You may not like them, but fine. Professor Hotez, accept the challenge. And it wouldn't, again, if he's so confident in his information, again, this story's still developing, go ahead and go on the Joe Rogan show. It isn't your first time. Oh, my goodness. Professor Hotez, you were on the Joe Rogan show some time ago. How could you be on his show? Why would you be on his show? You might upset your liberal brunch crowd. So what's the perfect way of ending this segment? Well, remember that video that I played earlier in the segment where Alex Rosen confronted Professor Hotez saying, hey, why don't you at least debate RFK Jr. Joe Rogan show? Well, apparently people on social media saying, oh, my goodness, he should go to jail. He should be arrested. So he actually goes to the Houston police. I think this is a funny way to end the segment.
All right, guys. After my heinous crimes I committed today, such as talking to a public figure, I feel the inevitable coming. All these leftists suddenly love the police and want to report the most pettiest of crimes to them. So you know what? The inevitable's coming. I'm turning myself in to Houston PD. I even bought unlike with Peter. We'll see how this goes.
Godspeed,
Might as well
buddy.
get ahead of it and cooperate fully. How's it going? Turn myself in. I don't know if there's any warrants out, but I committed a terrible freaking crime today. I freaking asked a few questions to a sacred figure. I committed a hate crime, I think. And is asking questions to somebody like on their front lawn like illegal?
Unless they ask you to leave their front lawn, but if you're on the sidewalk, no.
Oh, it was like on their front lawn, but like after he didn't want to talk, we just both went separate ways. Is that like illegal?
No.
It's not?
I mean, it depends on what.
Yeah, no, like he didn't tell me to leave. We just both like walked separate ways.
Well, I mean, like asking him questions.
Yeah, like I was just like, are you gonna? It was like a presidential debate thing. I was like, are you gonna debate this one guy? And he's like, I don't know. And I asked him like what he thinks about there were shots involved with children.
Shots?
Yep, in their right arms. COVID vaccines.
So you gave children shots today?
No. It was just asking somebody about it on his front lawn, and
He injected children.
well, no, he just kind of made vaccines or helps with that. But I just asked him like, what does he think about that? And he didn't really want to talk after that, and we kind of went separate ways. And it was like a 50-second interaction.
So where did the hate crime come in?
Well, I mean, these people are telling me that I should kill myself for doing it. So like, is that not like a hate crime? I don't know. I don't think I was bad to him, but apparently all these people that I thought hate.
Words are violent. Oh my goodness. He talked to somebody. He talked to a public figure. Now all the social justice warriors want him behind bars or tell him to self-delete himself. Oh my goodness gracious. The madness, the insanity. But at least he's stunning and brave. He's a beautiful butterfly for turning himself into the Houston police. But so far, I get, hey, all those Professor Hotez fans. Turns out asking questions and having a civil conversation and going your separate ways for a 50-second engagement is not a hate crime. And there are people brain dead enough to actually say that that was a hate crime.
Hated the police, now know all the laws in Houston. And I don't know. I mean, I didn't really say anything bad to him. I just kind of shook his hand and left.
Okay, so that's you're wanting to turn yourself in for that today.
Is that like a crime? I heard it was like just shaking someone's hand and leaving on their property.
No.
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 Okay.
I mean, if you both engaged in the handshake, you should be fine.
Yeah, we did. It was mutual convo. But like, I'm just getting told it was like, I was hateful. So, okay, well, this is such a relief because it's Father's Day and I want to go see my. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, if you're uncomfortable shaking people's hands.
No, I'm not. It was in like Montrose too. It was a gay name, so I don't know if that came into play. I don't think he's gay though, but I don't know. I'm just letting the internet get to my head, I guess. Okay, I'm sorry. Y'all have a great.
No, it's okay. You don't need to apologize.
Okay, y'all have a great day. Okay. Oh my God.
Well, he's stunning and brave. He did it. He survived. And now he's out. So what can we take from all of this? First, number one, if you're going to start something on Twitter, be ready for the fallout. Be ready for the pushback. Be ready for people to say, okay, fine, back up with what you believe and face me. And apparently Professor Hotez decided to run to corporate media where he will be shielded, protected in a controlled environment. No pun intended. But it's really insulting when, again, people like to throw names at individuals. And all I could say is it's sounding pretty petty. It's pretty petty comparing, again, RFK Jr. As somebody who's not qualified. I mean, he obviously has done his own fair share of research. If you're so confident, Professor, face RFK Jr. on Joe Rogan's show. I mean, hell, everybody in the Vote Blue, no matter whose circle, should be backing this up. You've already made it very clear that you're worried that Team Biden isn't prepared. So you're showing your bias. Kind of shows how petty and weak you are.